All right, welcome back everyone to this session with Alicja Heyda PhD. We like science here as well as hippies. She's an integrative breathwork psychotherapy is the area she kind of puts together. So that involves psychotherapist, clinical psychologist, psycho-oncologist, working with cancer patients. She's a certified breathworker, researcher, trains and supervises. So she does it all. She'll be joining us for the next 50 minutes. So welcome, Alicia, and anything you'd like to say that I've missed out there?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here and for inviting me. It's been a long 20 years working on the edge of absolutely extreme conditions at the hospital with people in crisis. And I believe I am able to share a bit, especially in those difficult times. I am aware that the group had Wim Hof method breathing earlier, so I wouldn't like to start things too intensively. What I would like to say, I believe every breathworker will say it all over again. With our own breath, we are able to control our emotional state, our psychosomatic well-being. And for everyone in crisis, the first important step is to be aware of breathing and to slow it down the moment when we think we are losing control. Yeah, it's the best thing you can do is to be aware of your breathing, of your inhale and exhale. And for me, this is the beginning of the long journey of inner freedom, because as Viktor Frankl, the great existential psychotherapist, said, the space between the impulse and the reaction is a space of freedom. So inhaling and exhaling consciously, it gives us freedom in every moment. And these kinds of insights appeared in Viktor Frankl's head when he was imprisoned in concentration camp. So he was able to find his own freedom in completely extreme conditions. Steve, do you have some questions maybe before I'll start something?
Yeah, I have a ton of questions, but I was just sort of perhaps curious how you came to breath in the first place. So was it breath or general embodiment, and did it come before psychotherapy or along with it?
Okay. As a teenage kid, I was looking for something that would give me a release, that would calm me down and show me the way to my real self. It was an insight of a kid who was a real nerd. You know, I was a real crazy scientist, total nerd who did not fit in anywhere. Yeah. So as a nerd kid, I have read everything I could find in my home library and in libraries nearby. You know, there was no internet and it was a hard communistic time. And then I found suddenly a nice book by Sondra Ray, and I realized that the breathing, conscious breathing, may set me free, because logic will not set me free. Philosophy I have read did not set me free at all. So changing my mind and changing the state of my mind may set me free, may show me the way. And that was this insight when I was 15 years old. And later on, the first book of Alexander Lowen was published in 1990. It was the end of communism a year earlier. It was about bioenergetics, about spirituality of the body. And when I read this book, I realized what am I going to do all my life. So that's how it started. So primarily, I have become a young breath worker in rebirthing breathwork local circle. And then I started studying psychology, then psychotherapy at the same time, and clinical psychology later. When I was 24, I started to work at the cancer center in Gliwice, Poland. And it's been now 20 years of working in hard clinical conditions where anything can happen. I have clients in my private practice, and I teach people in psychotherapy schools at the university. So this is my way from crazy breath worker to scientist, because I am still a nerd, so it did not change at all. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so the best of both worlds. Yeah, it's a story we often hear there is we start out so disappointed and it's like, how can I find this reconnection? So it's a really cool thing. And as you just mentioned there, going into, so I think it was like transplant, hematology, ontology, and mental health, hostile environments. And obviously there's two sides of it. So how is it that both the breath workers sort of helped you being in those hostile environments, but then also we can then lead into how you've applied that with others as well?
Okay. When I started rebirthing breathwork in the past, it changed me during 3 sessions, and I stopped being depressed and I stopped being anxious just after these 3 sessions. So I really wanted to implement it all and to teach people. So when you are working with people in crisis, like cancer patients, like dying people, because I support people at the end of the road all the time. I wanted to implement it step by step. So I kept asking my medical team, what would you think about implementing 20 connected breaths? How would you like to have at our clinic longer relaxation sessions? Later came basic bioenergetics. And slowly I started introducing breathwork, looking at the patient's feedback. So if you have a grave, serious disease and it's severe, you always can do something, starting small. So that's how I started it at the clinic. Of course, I met certain doubts, and people are not used to such crazy practices, how it is possible that the therapist is breathing instead of talking and holding the hand of the patient. So that was sort of revolution while I was leading a trance dance at the patient's meeting room, or doing conscious walking at the hospital's green space around. So starting small is the most important step. Yeah. And when someone is really sick, it's always good to start from breathing. And as long as I can breathe with someone together, there is still hope, and every smile of this person and every pain reduction that is obvious during breathing is a success. So maybe I'm staying out of rainbows and unicorns area, but the patients they have their own spiritual insights or emotional breakthroughs, which I never suggest that they should have. Yeah. So
Yeah. It struck me there as you just said that like breathing is such a weird thing to suddenly implement, but it was just a step-by-step process. You just managed to get in there. Yes, the topic of this was kind of living and breathing on the edge, or how to survive and thrive in the crisis. And may I ask, how has being involved in that environment kind of touched you or changed you over the course?
I didn't hear the first part of your sentence. You were asking how this implementing process changed me, or just
Yeah,
the breathing?
yeah. So working with people in that process and really being with them and connecting with them, how has
Okay,
that kind of changed you?
okay. When we are moved out of our comfort zones of thinking that we are immortal and we are um, indestructible, and we are sitting beside someone who is vulnerable, who is in pain. I started during the old times of oncology, so the most effective pain treatments came later. So I have experienced a lot of helplessness and a lot of desperation trying to help the people who were in pain. So all my personal neuroses just died out. Okay, you don't have a space for the personal, oh, my mother gave me too much spinach when I was a kid, so it's a big trauma, or I am wondering whether I should change my blankets from the cotton to silk ones, like Woody Allen said. So all these small neuroses, or am I pretty enough, or maybe I'm too fat, it's all disappearing while living on the edge. Uh, when you are accompanying somebody who is trying to survive or who is basically dying. So this kind of war-like state induces great presence, and I am being present without being neurotic most of the time. It all burned out. So maybe this kind of fire which removes our daily neurotic states can be useful. And if you would, in case you talk to people from palliative care, they often repeat similar things. That all these comfortable little lies, self-lies, all these problems. Am I dressing good fancy clothes, or maybe my outfit is not nice? It's all disappearing. Of course, in every situation, you may try to omit the insight of impermanence, of enjoying every moment. People are able to lie to themselves in every moment, but in most of the cases, during such kind of work, you just lose yourself a bit. So many dramatic events I have experienced during my professional life, or in my personal experience, they were totally different, I suppose, for me after all I came through and all I have experienced during my work at the edge. Because being sort of I don't know, mindful soldier, brother in arms for someone in crisis, it gives you the presence and the insight you would not have in another case. So this is my perception, yeah, of the. I will never know what will happen at work when I come to my work and what is going on. Everything can happen. Maybe I did not experience the landing of UFO or aliens in a large spaceship, but everything has already happened.
Yeah. A few things there as well, like this, what you're talking about, being on that front line as almost like a soldier, seems to be the language that is being used a lot around what's currently happening with the current crisis. So is there anything that's from your work that you feel kind of something that can be shared with everyone who's here about this crisis that we're in and how to, you know, thrive in it or survive at least?
Okay. In this kind of crisis situation, war-like state, if we have a person who is traumatized, or if you are traumatized, you need to find a place to shake things out. Yeah, the body of a mammal needs to shake after the trauma. So you need to have everybody needs to have a space for resting, abstracting, expressing. It's like most of the therapists are referring currently to polyvagal theory, so I'm not going to describe it in detail, but mammal has three kinds of psychosomatic states it exists in, also a human being. State of connection related to one part of parasympathetic nervous system, and this is the nice thing of being in relationship, feeling closeness, feeling safety. Let's call it a green area. Then comes the yellow area of fight and flight sympathetic nervous system, when you can fight as long as you are strong enough. And then if you are coming into the phase of exhaustion, being traumatized, over-traumatized, beyond your capacities, you go to the red part of freezing, being numb. This is the part of parasympathetic nervous system that helps you to survive in the worst of circumstances. It's like an animal sitting in a corner until it shakes its trauma. So it is very good to seek connection and to seek touch and closeness as much as we can now during COVID or in a crisis of any kind. Seeking connection, expression, regulating nervous system by rhythmic, slow breathing, it will give you the strength to overcome almost any trauma. I have friends who are helping Ukrainian soldiers at the front line, psychotherapists. So all of them were giving a space for the people to shake, to get cathartic, and then they were establishing a connection to share and to be close, and that was helpful enough to stay and not to get crazy, not to develop post-traumatic stress disorder. So during COVID times, we really need to search for connection and to have someone to touch. Pet is also a good idea. We are mammals, and to stay in this healthy social engagement system, the green sphere, we need to be close to each other. Of course, everyone has different needs. Some people need a lot of people around. Some other may need one important person. So this is the basic. And there is this kind of breathing that lets your nervous system to rest and to get to the green zone. This is called coherent breathing. I believe in breathwork work, it's so obvious that I wasn't sure I should even mention it, but I realized now that there are more people over here at the conference who might not be experienced in breathwork. So 6 breaths per minute gives you maximum oxygen capacity during breathing and afterwards. When you have slow, deep inhale and free, non-pushed exhale. And this kind of breathing regulates vagus. So vagus nerve is connected to most of the organs and to the brain and to the heart. So this kind of intervention may help you to calm down the person in crisis right away. There are different pranayama techniques. Some of them are stimulating, some of them are giving oxygen advantage, like buteyko breathing or Wim Hof technique, which I really like personally. There are cathartic breath work types like holotropic breath work, like rebirthing breathing, if it's fast. But during the crisis, please focus at the beginning on slowing down the breathing, focus on slowing down and being aware of the breathing, and you may try to start breathing 6 breaths per minute. There are several applications people may use, or just counting on fingers. I am counting in my head, for example. You don't need technology for that.
Yeah, and just to continue touching on some of this stuff, and there's so many areas we could then go out into, but I know what you were talking about there is going into kind of polyvagal theory with Stephen Porges. A few people are sharing different resources in the chat there as well. But in terms of what you're talking about with either calming yourself down, like this awareness, and then this calming yourself down with the breath, how do you find yourself varying techniques for what different people use? For example, if they are hyper aroused, then they've got to calm down, but do you then vary it up with people who are in that hyper arousal state to bring themselves up as well?
Well, when we are in the contact, direct contact, people feel each other. Yeah? Our hearts cooperate. If we are in online contact, during online contact, I can always observe the tempo of talking, the rhythm of breathing, and the general description of symptoms. And just in case, because human being is a mystery and not everyone is telling me what is happening. For example, I am always asking all these controversial questions. Did you have suicidal attempts? Are you self-harming? Are you harming anyone around? Are you having brain tumor or hypertension? And I often work with people who have tumors in their head, okay? So at the beginning, it's always good to start with a mindfulness and concentration on breathing. And later on, especially if someone is aroused, it's a very good idea to start with coherent breathing after a period of calming down and slowing down the breathing. If someone is very aroused, I would suggest humming. So if you are taking a long deep breath and you're humming, humming is slowing down. Oh, it's raining now when we are talking here, but I have a little blanket. All right.
Humming
I am
okay.
Okay, I am in the wild, so that's so funny. Or maybe I will cover the computer. I'm not a problem. Computer is okay. My computer is covered, so we can continue. So please, at the beginning, everyone should slow down and see how the body reacts. Afterwards, we may try to introduce ourselves to coherent breathing, and I think it's a very good idea. Okay, I'm fighting with the rain, okay, so please forgive me. Okay, now I cannot see myself, but you can see me. Okay, Steve, can you see me?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
You're on the front lines.
Okay, computer is covered totally, and but you can see me. Okay, so try humming if you are feeling you are overreacting. Yeah, for a couple of minutes. We can do a nice section of an exercise afterwards. Now we are talking a bit. I have experience with somatically ill patients that they are so traumatized that even coherent breathing is too fast for them, and they are going slowly into cathartic states, and they are experiencing a lot of tingling and various sensations from the body, because many people, and especially my patients, they are not breathing at all. I am not sure how they are alive. the breathing of an average patient I meet is a totally no breathing state. They are breathing just to survive. So every kind of deepening the breathing will lead to transitional sensations of over breathing. So after being prepared that you may feel tingling sensations in your head, in your muscles, people slowly adapt. So I would suggest not to push yourself in a hardcore long sessions with shaking, trembling, and overreacting. I would suggest going slowly, giving yourself time. Sometimes our defenses are so strong. Sometimes I call this muscle, this muscle blockages, platinum tight blockages, because they will not get relaxed after normal relaxation and after hardcore intervention, because the person remains tense. In body work, in body psychotherapy, you do not resist. We are moving, let's say, just near the resistance line. So the body may relax and think that everything can change slowly and without, forcing anything. Because when someone is traumatized, I believe these people have tendency to abuse themselves all over. Oh, I'm taking off a blanket. No rain, no. Okay. People who are abused in the past, they have a tendency to abuse themselves with breath work, body work, and everything they can find. So we really need to be careful with what we are doing to ourselves. Yeah, person who is traumatized is numb and wants to feel something. So if I want to feel something, I may get addicted to any psychoactive substances, yeah, any of it. I may get addicted to running, to embodiment practices. Anything may become not a path to development, but a path to traumatize yourself all over and over again. Okay. So it's like defreezing something. For example, frozen chicken or carrots, yeah, from your freezer. You may take it slow. That this metaphorical chicken will not notice, yeah, that it's getting unfreezed. Okay, and very often, really very often, when I am breathing with people and I have relationship with them, it's not mechanical. They do not feel anything because they are traumatized and they are numb, but the tears are coming and falling for several minutes, and my people are just unfreezing, yeah, like this chicken and carrots. So sometimes bodily feeling or bodily reaction will come first, and the deep emotional feeling will come many months later, several sessions later, when the mind is ready. Okay.
Yeah, I love what you just brought up there with just this awareness of what we're practicing, because obviously there's a lot of people here today, and there's a lot of different breathwork techniques being offered. So just in terms of just those quick tips or mistakes you see, is it sort of, just be aware very much, just take it very slowly. Are there any other mistakes you see people making?
Yes, be a good mama to yourself. Yeah, let you have a time to unfreeze and to cry a little bit. And if you feel that you are resisting, it's okay that you are resisting. I'm saying these things, they are a bit like hypnotic intervention. When you say you may cry or you may not cry, you may choose what you need to feel right now. But it is right. give yourself a space. As a therapist, I am not totally attached to any breathwork techniques. You know, I am not a follower of a breathwork sect. So you may choose different methods. Yeah, you may like. I am training now Wim Hof method, for example, and as an old breath worker, I am a little bored because I have no sensations. But I love it. Effects are extremely nice. You may choose any technique, but it's best to stay unattached. It's nice to experience and unfreeze slowly without being a follower or looking for an attachment in your relationship with breathwork group, for example, that is not very real. Yeah. So take your time, I would say to anybody, and have fun, experience. Yeah, it's like Wim Hof said, get high on your own supply. You may experience. Well, I did a lot of research on breathing. Imagine me as a crazy nerd. I am wearing always white hospital apron, running with, you know, pieces of glass with blood to measure them in the lab. Yeah, that's me. So after half an hour of a good circular breathing, like rebirthing breath work, my patients, they were pretty all the same, yeah, selected medically, they were the same. So they experienced the prolactin going up, the level of prolactin increased and cortisol decreased in session. So you are emitting your own molecules, yeah, your own bliss. Yeah, prolactin is bliss. If anyone who was breastfeeding for a certain amount of time, yeah, will know what I'm talking about. Prolactin is also familiar to men, and prolactin is released after orgasm. Yeah, and you release it during breathwork session, and in the same time, cortisol is going down. So these two reactions are stimulating natural killer cells to fight viruses and cancer cells. Yeah, natural killer cells are lymphocyte types who are like crazy warriors. Imagine you have your own three crazy warriors who love you and will do anything for you, and they are stimulated by a prolactin in vivo and in vitro, as far as I remember the research, and they are numb after being exposed to steroids and cortisol. Steroid treatment is necessary many times in many medical conditions, but your own cortisol is making your natural killer cells less active. Yeah, so all kinds of rhythmic breathing is stimulating natural killer cells, and there is some yoga research on rhythmic breathing. I also found this kind of reaction. Yeah, and it did not happen in case of relaxation and movement alone. This kind of mobilization happens during rhythmic breathing. Okay, so that was a bit of research, and I will really always recommend to everyone to have 15 minutes a day of circular breathing, which you should do gently and not very deeply, just to get used to it, and then you will go a bit deeper. My experience shows, after so many years of being breath worker since my teenage years, that 15 minutes is sort of border. After 15 minutes, you may have a higher chance of getting cathartic, shaking, and abreacting, but 15 minutes gives you a safe space to experiment. Yeah. You may have stronger reaction if you have panic disorder and your breath work, your breathing is not very effective. So everyone during this breath work day and in any other case, if you are really feeling you are shaking, you are tingling and you are not feeling well while over breathing, just breathe into your hands, but don't breathe into the paper bag or plastic bag, because it's a very easy kind of accident. So you have your hands, and you breathe into your hands until your carbon dioxide level in your blood and partial carbon dioxide pressure will increase. Yeah, always. This kind of intervention will not solve a problem, but it will calm down the panic disorder for the moment. Okay? Yeah. Okay, we have 2:05. Maybe we should do something a little more practical. Okay?
Yeah, I was just asked that, seemingly going into the practical. Thanks.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. You have a lot of practice all day long with lovely, wonderful, powerful people, but a little bit something with me. So it is the choice of your body if you will be aware, or maybe your body will choose to stay in trance. It is always the best choice your mind, the body can do. We may observe our breathing, and it's very nice during this kind of exercise to be arrogant, like a king of the world, queen of a shopping mall. That's a joke. Let's feel like a king, like a queen. You don't have to do anything. You can do everything. There is nothing to achieve, and you may achieve through not achieving. And now you may breathe a bit deeper. Try to feel your belly. Is it moving when you are breathing in? And let go. You don't need to push your exhalation. It's good only now in case if you have pulmonary obstructive disease, but in any other case, just relax and breathe in. Breathe out. And now continue with breathing. Letting your body to feel that your body just wants to feel. We may hear different sounds, birds, cars, and we breathe. Any kind of tingling is okay now. We are together. We are close to each other despite being online. Long 5-second inhale. Easy exhale. It's like looking at the sea waves. Inhale, the wave is coming in. Exhale, out, coming back to the sea. We give our heart a chance to work in an ideal way. In. Out. In. And the way you breathe now is absolutely okay. Your body needs to have a space to open up and to deepen your breathing without pushing. Just to relax your vagus nerve and make your heart to work in an ideal way. And when we are breathing right now, you may find a place in your body that is stressed or very numb or cold. A place that really needs your attention. It's nothing special, it's just awareness. No unicorns. Yeah. And let us accept this place in the body without pushing it to relax. We are accepting the tense or painful area without a will to change. We may think nice things to ourselves. I am accepting this painful, tense area. I am accepting that maybe part of me is shaking. Let us be together in this experience, letting go of an attachment that something must be relaxed or something must stop being painful will give you 40% release clinically. So, no fighting, achieving through non-achieving, being aware or being not aware, just letting your body work. And our thoughts and feelings, let them come without an evaluation. You may not even listen to me. You may let your body do its own thing. Let us think about frozen carrots. If we let them go, forget about them, they will stop being hard and frozen. So we are aware of the painful areas and we let them be. A couple of minutes. Yeah, and now I would like to recall a certain Taoist idea. If you want to, while breathing, could you just focus on your belly, on your navel, and imagine a warm light, or even a rainbow fountain of unicorns, if you like it, yeah, or the colorful bubbles, or a champagne, anything that works. Let your belly be full of nice wave of light, colorful bubbles, or warmth, or a pure nuclear power, whatever you wish. Yeah, let us focus on this area, the middle of your body. And we are breathing into it. And now, this wave of rainbows, bubbles, champagne, or light and warmth is going everywhere, to our chest, to our sacrum level to relax, to your toes. If you are missing any limb, please direct the light to the phantom limb. So we are now full of a colorful or powerful good thing. And now this blissful cocktail is reaching the head, yeah, up to the top of your head. And you may allow your body to stay in a healing trance, even if your brain and your face is aware and working on a conventional level. You may say to your body, put myself in trance, put yourself in trance. My body, you are good to me and I am good to you. You may heal. You may relax if you wish. Okay, and that's it. And now it's 4 minutes. We have 4 minutes and we can go back to a conventional, more conventional state of mind, allowing your body to stay in trance. Okay? Good. How are you, Steve?
Thanks, Alicia. They're very nice. And I'm looking at everyone, they seem a little bit blissed out there. Sort of awareness, mindfulness meets breath, visualization, and unicorns as well. One unicorn's okay.
Yeah. Okay, I accept even 100 unicorns if it's a genuine insight. Yeah.
Yeah, as you flagged, we're heading towards wrap up. So I was wondering if, as we end up, do you have any final kind of vision or something final tip, final vision that you'd like to see in the future?
Of course. Our body needs constant training to know new things and to heal, I believe. So it will be wonderful to for you to train at least these 15 minutes a day or 5 minutes 3 times a day to be to get used to a new reaction, new type of reacting, new type of healing, and new type of experiencing world. Yeah, 1 day of a workshop is very useful, but your body needs to be trained like a big wise animal. I always repeat it all over and over, most often in Polish. You need to accept your wise animal, the wise animal of your body. Yeah, and the wise animal needs methods and a little training, but without pushing. So this is my final conclusion. We couldn't achieve anything while pushing or being competitive. And contrary, we will not achieve anything while doing absolutely nothing. So maybe if you are a Zen master, you will achieve something while doing totally nothing. But we need a little bit of something, of intention. Yeah. If someone likes Carlos Castaneda, there was a lot of things about intention there. Yeah, I kept reading Carlos Castaneda instead of Harlequins in my youth. So I recommend this kind of metaphor, even if the story is not real. Okay, so this is my final conclusion. Just train your wise animal, your important body. Okay.
Thank you, and thank you for giving us both sides of that as well, because sometimes one's missed. So I'm going to share down there in the chat a link to your Facebook page.
Yes.
But do you have any other links that you'd like to share with people? Because I think so much more that people could get.
Oh, please connect me through Facebook. I have a brand new fan page, and you may write to me on Messenger, and my email is alicyaheyda@gmail.com, so you may write to me. All my data are on the fan page. I am on LinkedIn, and most of my research is on ResearchGate. This is kind of Facebook for scientists and all kind of nerds. So you may log in there as independent researcher or write yourself as a student. So please contact me and feel free to ask me questions, okay? Yeah.
I hope you're ready for a big inundation of 450 people.
Okay, no problem.
Doing that. But thank you again so much for this session, because I think everyone's got so much out of it. I think everyone else probably feels the same, so you can share some love for Alicia. And yeah, we'll wrap up here and allow people to reset a little bit.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. Yeah, I will look at the chat now, and okay, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, so I send you love and all these unicorns I kept talking about. Bye. Yeah.
Thanks. And just again to everyone, I'm going to the breakout rooms again, don't appear to be working, but I highly encourage everyone to get away from the screen as well. Open up your eyes, have a little bounce around, a stretch, breathe a little bit perhaps even. Crazy idea. So yeah, get away, grab yourself a drink, some food, whatever you need. And I'm also going to do something here right in, I'll give it a couple minutes, and then what I'm going to do is just to close this Zoom room for 1 minute, just so that we can get the recordings of these sessions that have happened so far this morning up straight away. So I'll close that in about a minute or two once everyone gets a chance to copy through the chat. And then I'll open it straight away again so you can rejoin in time for the next session. Thank you.